My name is December James. I'm the voice of the saint and sinner. I speak for followers of Christ who fall short, still show up, and still choose him. Not because we're perfect, but because he is. And this is my testimony. So pivoting from what's going on at church to what's going on at home, something that I'm able to acknowledge now was my mother leaving the church that we were at created this disconnect between me and her. And it also gave me like this small sense of abandonment because, like I said, she was my spiritual tether and I didn't have my own relationship with the Lord at that time. In the home, I was searching for this love and this care from my mom. And subconsciously, I felt like that love and care was reserved for her church life. Because, like I said, my mom was always big on Jesus. And like, that's all she cared about was Jesus, 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 Jesus. And just transparently, my mom was going through a lot of things that at the time I didn't know. I know now because we've had those conversations, but there was a lot of things she was going through at the time that I just wasn't privy to. I wasn't aware of. And it would cause this anger to arise in her and this fire and this rage. And I would see my mom kind of crash out in a sense at different times in my life and my youth and my childhood. And it would also bring that question back to me like, okay, you all about Jesus and you holy, 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 and you pray a lot and you read your Bible a lot and you go to church but you wilding right now. Like you screaming, you slamming doors, you upset, you angry. This don't feel like what they be talking about at church. This don't feel very godly to me. This don't. And even right now, I'm having this realization like that even caused questions in me to question if certain things were real. Me and my mom, we had a disconnect for a long time in my life because there was a nurturing that I was searching for that I wasn't getting. And I needed it, I really needed it, but I wasn't getting it. So it would cause me to, one, act out, two, look for it in other places. I remember there was a time in my life where I thought my mom didn't like me because, I wasn't always the best kid. I didn't always do things the way she would have liked me to do them. And like I said, she would have these times where she would be angry and get upset and lash out. And as a child in that era, we weren't really allowed to express ourselves and how things made us feel. It was just more of a do as I say, not as I do type of energy, or do it because I said so, that type of thing. I know now that she was under some different pressures and different things and different influences of what was going on in her marriage and in her personal life that had an effect on her temperament and the way she behaved. And, we've since had those conversations. She's apologized. I've forgiven her for things. She's forgiven me for things. Like me and my mama, we so locked in at this point in my life. But for a long part of my life, we weren't. And so I remember even back as early as like 8 years old, I remember my mom having like this emotional episode and we were driving home leaving from my grandmother's house. Rest in peace, Granny. We was leaving her house, headed home, and my mom was upset with my dad about something. And as he's driving, she's like trying to jump out the car. Like she tried to jump out the car twice. So like he's in traffic, chasing her down in the middle of the street, putting her back in the car, trying to hold his arm around her to keep her in the car while he's trying to drive us home. Like it was wild. And I remember being in the back seat with my brother and my sister, and we looking at each other and we crying and we don't understand what's going on. And since of course she's explained that whole situation to me and what was going on and what she was experiencing. And she's actually, apologized for that display. But I get it now, what was happening, what she was experiencing. But in that time, it was causing me to feel like, oh, my mom don't want to be here with us. Like, she don't like us like that. Like, what did we do to mom so bad that, she not rocking with us like that? She don't really like us. And I remember feeling that way often, like my mom don't really like us. Or let me say my mom don't really like me, because I don't want to speak for my brother and my sister. But that's how I felt. And in that was this seed of abandonment. There was this seed of not belonging. And there was this seed of feeling like I wasn't enough. And that's partly where it was planted. As I would grow up and my mom would have this tension. And as I got older, I would start to act out and lash out and do my own little things. And it would cause further disconnect and discourse with us. And I remember being 14 and my mom put me out the house because I was stealing and lying. And she wasn't having it. My mom she was very no nonsense. She didn't play around. When she was fed up, she was fed up. And she had put me out. I had to go live with my aunt for like a week. And I remember in that week feeling, like I said, my mom don't like me. My mom don't want me around. I don't belong there. She had actually told me to my face, she said, I'm washing my hands of you. And I remember I held on to that for so many years, yo. Like I held on to that one sentence, I wash my hands of you. I held on to that for so many years. And even like later in life, the dealings I would have with women, I would never give myself fully to a woman because I would always have that reminder, like if my own mother, the woman who carried me and birthed me, said that she washes her hands of me, how can I expect you to be around? How can I expect you to stay? Why would I expect you to stay? Why would I expect you to be something different when my own mother washed her hands of me? So I always would like go into relationships expecting the girl to quit on me at some point. And subconsciously, I would give them reasons to quit on me at some point. I would let it deteriorate and sometimes try to help it along the way, to deteriorate. And it was from me holding on to that very sentence, I wash my hands of you. And so that planted, of course, more of that seed of abandonment, not feeling good enough, not feeling wanted, not feeling desired, not feeling like I belonged. One thing it caused me to do was to seek attention from women, in which I would overcompensate for that feeling of inadequacy. And another thing it caused me to do was to search for community outside of my home. And I would wind up, in crowds that I shouldn't have been in. I wound up running with a gang, like all types of craziness. And so fast forward a little bit to 16, my mom would actually move out of our house. And she moved in with my aunt for a few months. And her reasoning was that she felt unappreciated by her husband and her children. And I remember coming home from school one day because she had made this like threat that she was going to leave for like a while. And, we would always just blow it off like, Mom, you're not going nowhere. Like, relax, pipe down. And I remember coming home from school one day. I was 16 years old. And I remember all of her things being lined up at the front door. And my mom moved out. And I remember being there like, what do you mean you moving out? Like, I never seen nothing like this, I never heard about nothing like this. Like, none of my friends ever told me that their mom moved out of the house. Like, I never heard anything like this. It caught me off guard, even though she had threatened it for a while. It caught me off guard and brought back this feeling of abandonment, of not being enough. It's like we not enough for her to stay, or I'm not enough for her to stay. And she's leaving us. And it hurt, to be honest with you. It's another thing since, we've since been able to discuss and talk about, and she's, apologized, and I've forgiven her for those things. And she's explained exactly, where she was in that season of her life. And that's why I live by this motto that the children must know. Like, it's very important for children to know what's going on. Don't hide things from your children. They need to know. Like, even when you feel like it's too adult for them to know, no, they need to know. Because when you're making decisions like that regarding your children and your family, and they're unaware of why these decisions are being made, it can have very detrimental impact. So the children must know. Keep it 100 with your children. Don't lie to your kids. Keep it funky with them. But like I said, that sowed even more of those seeds of abandonment and feeling inadequate and feeling like I wasn't enough and like I'm not good enough to stay for. I'm not worthy for my mom to even stay. So, and that doubled down on that. I wash my hands of you feeling. It doubled down. It's like, yo, if my mom washed her hands of me, my mom left me. I can't expect any woman in my life to ever stay. So I like I said before, I would literally go into relationships all throughout my life expecting women to leave. And a lot of time, pretty much every time, I would make sure that I was the one who left, just so I wouldn't have to take on that feeling of abandonment. That was another one of those seeds where I felt like I wasn't enough and I wasn't good enough. I didn't have enough. I just wasn't enough.